All right, let's talk about hand placement on the Caracorder. And forgive me, mine has some spray-on rubber that I've carefully applied to the tips for more traction because I have very soft fingers. So generally speaking, your main four fingers are going to go on those top four silver keys, or in my case, copper colored. And then your thumb middle, let's see if I can get a good angle here. The middle knuckle kind of goes on the second piece, and then the tip goes here. Or for me, it's actually a little bit forward to the knuckle. So your thumb controls this one with the pad of the tip, and this one with the joint here. And then here you with this black key for like the hyphen or Windows key or escape, you can control it with like a palm bump or palm twist. So if you're a Mac user and you want to do like a command something, you can end up doing these kind of palm letter motions using that key there. So that's the general position for both hands. Now, one of the things that you're going to want to think about with the position, it has to do with how large your hand is whether or not, like how much of the tip of your finger ends up on the keys. So for me, it feels very natural to have a certain part of the tip of my finger. Like when I go to touch this controller, it's like I naturally want to have almost like that little part of my fingerprint. It just feels perfect, like right there. Like maybe there's a nerve right there, but I can feel the part that I want to have. So I don't like overdo it and go too far, and I also don't over curl my fingers like this, where I'm gonna maybe strain my hand by having it too tight. It's a very relaxed position, almost like you're giving a massage to somebody, where you would kind of be squeezing with the inside of your hand, not with your fingers. If you give massages with the points of your fingers, people aren't enjoying it, by the way. Squeeze with that inside of your hand. Yeah, good shoulder massage. So, so that's kind of the general hand position. Now, there's a few things about this in terms of the angle that you're going to want to think about. If your angle is too much on the inside, you're actually going to have some issues with like the U key, and maybe with your thumb movements as well. I found that if you look at this direction that these keys go, it actually helps to have your thumb kind of, I don't know, up against it a little bit. And I naturally want to be a little bit more like this and then put my thumb here. But if you see when I relax my hand, that really what my hand wants to do is it wants to sit like this. And it's better for me to cheat my hand out just a little bit so that my thumb's sort of natural desire is to be more up against the device. I think if I do this and I relax my hand in the position that I like the most, I'm actually touching this black plastic. And that gets me great, it gets me more leverage on my outside ring finger, which is not as coordinated here. And also just kind of a better angle on these keys in terms of how they're, or on these switches in terms of how they're set up for the north, south, east, west movements. So think about, it's very subtle. It's hardly anything in terms of how much you're moving it. And you'll see that when you put both hands on, your right hand might naturally do this. Like for me, my right hand does this because it's used to using a mouse, where it always sort of sits at this angle. It's very, very used to this. Whereas my left hand is used to sitting here, like for playing video games or for typing, it's used to being straighter. So you're probably, if you're like me, you're going to find that you have your hands want to go in at different angles, but you're going to want to kind of make sure, is this centered? Am I at a comfortable, is this in a comfortable position? Not too close, not too far. And then is my hand in a relaxed way at the right angle, touching all of the keys and things. Now, when I'm actually typing, a lot of times my fingers do lose contact with these. I think that different people will end up having different styles for how they use the switches. Some people will mostly not. I find though that I'm just used to from typing hovering above sometimes and then coming down and doing the keystrokes. I don't know if as I get more skilled if that's going to go away or not, but whatever you feel like feels natural and comfortable, if it's natural, comfortable, and not hurting your speed, I would say don't worry about it. If you're honest with yourself and it is, and maybe you're hovering like really high and you're kind of going in and hitting these like as if they were keys, and I could see trying to do the Caracorder like this to be very difficult. So just be honest with yourself about whether or not your technique is comfortable in helping you or hurting you. But if you are doing something kind of weird, if it works for you, it works for you. So that's overall how it is. As most people know, this middle bar is removable from these screws here. So if you want to put these further away or tent them at an angle for ergonomics, some people are experimenting with propping them up on different stands, so you have one kind of at an angle here and one at an angle here. A lot of different thinking around how to improve this even more. In theory, the most ergonomic hand position is the one that you see someone's arm in when it's in a cast. It's kind of at an angle like this. So you can imagine Caracording like this. It takes a little bit of work to think about north, south, east, west at an angle, but with some practice you get used to it. And these can be pulled apart because the connector here, it's got a lot of give. So you can do a lot of things with your setup to try and find that optimal position.